All right, so now let's talk about Cubert Academy.
Okay, let's do it.
And it is funny because this came out of the blue. Where Redux, I have to say, Redux, he's going to be my boss soon. That kid is the most motivated 17-year-old. So, like, my content team came to me and said, hey, Redux wants to make sure he could play in an Asus tournament because it's not sponsored. It's sponsored by a competitor, Starforge. And I said, yeah, he can play in the tournament as long as he doesn't rep for Asus. And so I talked to Kaplan and he goes, oh, yeah, he's been scrimming. Like, he's in the scrim lineup. He goes, we've screamed them. He was scrimming at the time. He was scrimming at the time with Victor, Crashies, Scuba, and Mitch. And so he was taking scrims. He came up with the name Cubert Academy, and he then played in a tournament. And I turn it on. All of a sudden, I'm like, and there again was Sliggy, who's co-streaming with 3,000 people watching him watch a tier 3 stream. But it wasn't Victor and Crashies, because that's when Crashies was actually in Europe, getting everything set with his Fnatic signing. But it was Victor and Governor and Scuba and Mitch. So Cubert Academy's already had a player get promoted to the VCT because he lost their IGL to Cloud9.
Yeah, Mitch going to C9, right? So this basically just started off with Redux just wanting to compete and building a team, and then you made it a real thing once you saw like how motivated he was to do it.
Yes, and so he's been conducting trials for the last 2 weeks. He's going to definitely have players on his team you've heard of before, but the most important, so the complicated part is we can't win Ascension, but what I've said to the players is, okay, you can't win and get to VCT through Ascension, but instead we're going to make it so that if you are winning and you have a lot of, you're scrolling through the Cubert Twitter account right now.
Yeah.
That's real, by the way, that ranking.
Yeah, how are they? They're number 1 because they've played more matches in recent times, I guess. The VLR ranking system has got to be funny business.
System. That was an actual ranking. But so therefore, what we did to say to everybody is that the buyouts basically will be very small, and we will make that clear. So that's why we put it in the press release, because we want teams to know that if somebody's popping off on our academy team, that they can then go pursue a job with another team with a very minimal buyout.
Yeah, this is just a good initiative, honestly. Because usually what happens with these academy teams is the players will get sold for a lot of money. So the fact that you guys are already just straight out saying, to the public, hey, this is a chance for these players to prove themselves. Their buyouts are not going to be anything ridiculous. We just want to have an academy team that people can cheer for and promote. And this is an opportunity for the players that are on the team more than anything as well. So I don't know, it's just a good initiative overall, to be honest.
Yeah, so I mean the key is hopefully we discover some gems. I mean, Zekken was a pro when he was 16. Redux is ready to be a pro at 17. So there's those players can't be on a VCT roster, so this is a home for them.
And they're salaried on this team, right? They're gonna get salary.
Yes, but there has been a big change in salaries from what was happening the last 2 years in China, and that's why now it's a viable place to have an academy team, because salaries are now come back to reality.
Yeah.
And so now we can actually have an academy team, develop talent, but like I said, also people who don't have a VCT team who have that caliber. So that's why Victor and Crashies were playing with Redux for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
So you will definitely have heard of some of the players that ultimately, but yeah, Redux has been conducting trials.
Redux is on the move. When do they play again? Do we know, or is it still? Is their schedule kind of slow right now?
They haven't announced it yet. There's a new tournament operator coming.
Okay.
And so I believe the first matches are end of January.
Oh, okay.
But we're getting, like I said, we'll have a roster here in the next week. We plan to have a roster.
That's sweet.
And then the Cubert Academy social will have a different, tone of voice.
It's still Sentinels people running it, right? Yeah.
Is it, or is there's somebody who's just taken the life force of Cubert and now they got the keys to our Twitter account?
Are you running the Cubert Academy Twitter? No, right?
That's where the tweets I can't post I can post them on Cubert
Well,
Academy.